Hello, hello. I am now live. It's telling me on the screen. I see there are a few people here already in the room. That's awesome. We're going to get started in a couple of minutes. I'm Carla Murray. If you haven't seen me before or haven't met you before, so the webinar we're doing today is how to create an awesome fiction self-publishing business in 5 steps. But I mean, I'm going to be pulling a lot of different things into those steps. So that was the title I gave it, but we're going to be expanding a little further than that. So I'd love for you to type in the messages, say hi, let me know where you're coming from. Again, I'm Carla Marie. You're in the right place. We're getting started with the webinar right away. Usually I do webinars with slides and it's very detached and you don't see me. And I've just gotten away from doing those because they don't feel very connected to me. So I much prefer to talk to you this way. This is how I do Facebook Lives and things like that. So I wanted to test out doing it in a webinar kind of setting this time too. So great to see you guys. Hi. Nice to see you. So if you write something in the chat, it gets visible to me. Hi, Zara is here from Philadelphia. That's awesome. So yes, anything in the chat is visible to me, but it won't be visible to the whole room because I find that just becomes really distracting during the webinar. And so I will be asking for interaction at certain points, and please feel free to type in the message. So yeah, let me know where you're coming from. Hi, nice to see you. Kevin from Cincinnati, new to self-publishing. Awesome. So great to have you here. Okay, so this is going to be really fun. You're going to get to look at me for the next little while. Yeah, it's interesting. I've been doing webinar presentations for, I guess, the past almost 2 years. Hi, Peter. Hello, Shireen. Hello, Tarek. Wow, coming from Melbourne, New York. And Peter, yes, he's one of my new students. I'm so happy that you've joined us on the call here. That's wonderful. So as I was saying, I've been doing webinars for, I guess, almost 2 years now, between a year and a half and 2 years. And I've recently just realized they're not for me. So, and I think that's fair. I'm just trying to figure out what is my best way of communicating and relating to my students and to my audience and people that I want to connect with. So that being you. And I'd much rather just hang out like this, like we're having a conversation and you're sitting across from me at my dining room table, because that's where I am right now. I'm at my dining room table and there's my my very wintry view and my really beautiful roses on my messy table. Got those for Valentine's Day from my man. And I have a 7-year-old son, and he was running around with this on last night, and then he was trying to drink orange juice while wearing the wrestling mask. So that didn't work out very well. But okay, so anyhow, let's start to dive right in. I'm sure there'll be more people joining us. And again, if you're just joining, say hello in the chat. I would love to hear from you. And we're going to do a Q&A at the end. So at the end of the presentation, I will have, I'll take some time to answer your questions, any questions that you have that come up. So if you are posting questions during, while I'm talking, I may catch them, I may see them, I may not, I may just address them at the end. So just be aware of that. And I might break a couple times during the presentation to see if there are any questions or anything I can clarify. So what it takes to build effective, profitable self-publishing business. So this can mean a lot of different things to different people. I mean, some may just be wanting to build a little bit of a supplemental income, you know, extra few $100s a month, extra $1,000 a month, you know, take the ease off of bills or to like save up for vacation or something like that. Other people may have more lofty goals of creating, you know, a full-time income that could replace their jobs so they can transition away from maybe working 9 to 5, maybe working something that isn't too fulfilling. And then other people are just, want to shoot for the moon. They want to create something that is really expansive and beyond what they do in their current job, and have really huge dreams and a huge vision. And so if you fit into anywhere in that spectrum, that is perfectly fine. And, not everybody is going to have the same goals, and not everybody is going to be working at the same pace or have the same amount of financial resources to invest at the beginning to make things go really fast or whatever. So wherever you're at is absolutely fine. And there is no like right or wrong way to start this venture and start this business. Just give you some background about me when I started. So I started publishing in 2013. And what motivated me to get into it was the fact that I was self-published, or self-published, I was self-employed for a few years before that. I was a full-time yoga teacher, and I love it. Like, I still love teaching yoga. I taught a class last night at a local studio because it's something I love doing. But I just realized that I needed to get away from trading my time for money, because I was teaching about 20 classes a week, which was starting to really take its toll on my body and some of my energy levels. And I just knew that there was a shelf life to living my life that way. And so I started to explore passive income possibilities. And then I came across ebook publishing, and I was really fascinated with it because I had done some writing since the early 2000s. I was doing some freelance writing for some websites, like articles and things like that. And but that again was trading time for money. But it really intrigued me that I could do something kind of involving writing, even though I knew I was going to hire ghostwriters, but kind of in that world where I could have a digital product that I create once, and then it's sold on Amazon, this amazingly huge platform, and people around the world see it and buy it because they see that it's going to either solve a problem for them or provide entertainment or whatever. And so I was really fascinated with that. And so I just dove into it and started doing it. And really quickly, I became obsessed. I just, I remember the first course I took, I would, stay up really late at night and watch the videos over and over and over again, and take really meticulous notes and just execute on everything. And I just knew, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do awesome with this. Like, I just had that feeling from the beginning that I'm like, yes, this is something. Like, I had that big yes feeling inside of me. And it was great, because I started with nonfiction, and I was making a decent income. Like, after 6 months, I was making I think it was like $600, $700 a month profit, which I'm like, that was okay. It like covered a car payment and groceries for the month, that was amazing at that point in time, because before that I was struggling financially. I had debts. Like I said, I was kind of like at my ceiling for what I could earn with trading my time for money. And so to have that extra little bit of cushion coming in every month was really, really amazing. It wasn't as passive as I thought it would be, of course. You still need to do some work, of course, by creating the books and doing marketing and things like that. But it was exhilarating to me. It was really amazing to see that I could create something, and that my intention and my energy and my focus that I was putting into something had tangible financial rewards. So that was awesome. But so although I was making, like I said, like $600, $700 a month after half a year, which was awesome, like definitely nothing wrong with that. I could have continued doing that and been okay. I just knew there was more. And so that's when I started researching the bestsellers a little bit more, like diving into the store and seeing what is really selling. Like, what are the top sellers in the store? Because up to that point, I was just doing nonfiction. And then I started to see that fiction, and especially romance, was hot. Like most of the books in the bestsellers, like the top 100, were fiction, and a good chunk of those were romance. And so I was like, okay, I need to I need to check this out. I need to try this. And so I hired ghostwriters to do some romance books. I had no blueprint to follow or anything. This was just me being like, I'm just going to give this a try. And it was exciting. I published my first book. I remember the exact evening that I published it. My son was young at that point. He was, 2014. He would have just been 2 years old. So he was in bed, and I was like working late. My partner at that point was managing a restaurant, so I was alone all the time at night. So that's when I was building my business. But it was late at night, and so I published the first romance book, and I was super excited. And then I went to bed, and I woke up the next morning to check sales, and overnight it had sold 7 copies. And I had it listed at $2.99. And so I get about $2 royalty for every paid unit at $2.99. And it sold 7 copies. So I made $14 overnight. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Because that was way more sales quick in that short period of time than my nonfiction had ever done. So I was like, okay, I'm onto something. I need to keep doing this. And I did, kept doing it, kept growing it. And by the end of 2014, December 2014, I made over $10,000 that month. And it's, grown from there, and I've been able to grow my influence and my fulfillment in the industry by working with hundreds of people from all over the world to help them build their businesses too. And many of my students have far surpassed my achievement in romance publishing. I'm so proud of the success that my students have had. And this is something where we're always growing and progressing. So it's not like, all of a sudden you reach a point, you're like, okay, I'm done. I don't need to learn anything more. I'm always learning and always realizing that I don't know anything, if you know what I mean. Like you're like, at one point you're like, okay, I think I have it figured out, and you're getting good results and things are awesome. And then something little, a little thing changes with an algorithm, or something just doesn't keep working as well. And you're like, oh, maybe I don't know everything. But that's the power of having a community and a group too, where everybody helps each other. And we're always in close communication and able to carry each other through and help with strategy. So it's pretty awesome. Sorry, that was a little longer than I anticipated talking about my story and my journey. But yeah, life is good, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity like fiction publishing brought into my life, and that I've been able to touch so many other people's lives by helping them and teaching them, and yeah, it's been awesome. So since you're on this webinar, I'm assuming you've probably been on webinars before. Again, this is a different sort of format than most webinars, like with the slides and everything. And so you're just going to be looking at me. I feel like I'm talking to you and I'm having a conversation, and that to me feels like I can be more authentic and more real. So yeah, we're just going to roll with that. Oh, hey, Amber, she's from Orlando. Tarek, thanks for sharing. Oh, you're welcome. You're so welcome. So yeah, since you've been on webinars, I'm sure some of you maybe know nothing about this opportunity, about self-publishing. Some of you are probably old pros. You've been doing it for a while, or you're somewhere in between. But if you've been trying and you're feeling stuck somewhere, like you're hitting a wall, or you're not able to figure something out, you're like in this state of overwhelmment and confusion, that's okay. Being in confusion means that you are growing into a level greater than your current state. And that's a good place, because if you have some big dreams, you can't stay the same. You have to keep evolving and keep expanding. And sometimes that expansion is confusing, and sometimes it's painful. So if you are feeling frustrated and you're feeling confused right now, embrace it and just be with it. Allow yourself to sit in that confusion and allow yourself to think, and just start writing stuff down, writing stuff out. asking yourself the questions you don't know, and then you'll be clear as to like what direction you have to explore. But just to let you know that you're not alone if you're feeling confused and overwhelmed, because when you're doing something new or you're expanding into a different level, that is absolutely necessary. And that's not talked about as much, you know, like with entrepreneurs. And some people talk about it, but a lot of the times it's just like, oh yeah, be confident, like, 10x everything, just go hustle hard, all of this kind of stuff. And it's really hard to hustle hard and 10x when you're confused about the direction to go in. So sometimes you just need to sit back and take it in and just start to cultivate and tap into all of your resources. So being resourceful is key, and that's why coming onto something like this is going to be helpful for sure, as well as exploring other options. I mean, like, we're in this day and age where information is so accessible. Like, the internet is the greatest equalizer, right? Like, we all have YouTube. We all have the ability to Google something. There's so much information out there that you can either find the information you need or be connected to the person who can deliver the information to you in a way that is accessible and digestible. So, so know that there are answers, and sometimes, confusion has to happen. Okay, so let's see. If you have a desire right now to make something happen in the self-publishing world, whether you're writing your own books, you're ghostwriting books, or you're using ghostwritten books, or whatever you're doing, know that if you have that desire, you can absolutely make this happen. Like, there is no difference between you and the skills you have, or the foundation of the person you are, and me and any of my students. Like, everything can be learned. If you have the desire to make this happen, you absolutely can. You absolutely have the ability to take the information and implement it, and create something really amazing for yourself. So it's not like this requires some kind of inborn genius or skill, but what it does require is belief that you can do it. Because if you don't believe you can do it, it's going to be really difficult to, again, get the clarity on what you need to do, and also to drum up the courage and the momentum and motivation to take the action you need to take. So number one, first thing, no matter what you do, you have to believe. You have to believe that you can make this happen. And I know that may sound like some like new agey, like mumbo jumbo, like, like positive thinking, whatever. But it's absolutely true. If you don't believe you can do something, then how are you gonna take the action to do it? It's just, it just doesn't work that way. You have to believe first, and then you'll be equipped with the motivation to take the action that's necessary. All right, so let's get into the content a little bit here. All right, so what I'm talking about today is the 5 steps to create an awesome self-publishing business that can be profitable, that can bring in some extra money for you. So whether that be a few $100s, $1,000 a month, something to replace your full-time income, even more than that, absolutely doable. And so the first step is to identify what kind of books are popular and trending so that you can create books in that same niche. And so this is something where you don't want to be a pioneer. You don't want to, invent a niche and just assume that because you think it's interesting that someone else will too. We always lean on our niche research of the bestsellers to decipher what is selling right now and the direction we need to go in with our books. And so this is simply done by going to the Amazon.com store, to the Kindle store, and starting to browse through bestseller lists. And so for fiction, there are several different categories and subcategories. I recommend you get quite specific. So go into the specific subcategory bestseller lists in the fiction store, and start to observe, like, what are these books about? You can do this by looking at the covers, looking at the descriptions. In the titles, oftentimes there's words that you'll see that indicate certain themes in the books. And also looking at reviews too, looking at the positive reviews for books and seeing if the readers are giving some clues there about what they love about those books. And so this is something that never ends. I still do niche research on a daily basis. So I'm always going and checking out bestsellers, seeing what's trending, seeing what is selling, what people really want to read and they want to buy. And got a little visitor here. We're just here. We're here alone tonight, so he's just kind of like wandering around while I'm doing the webinar. So the niche research is something that I don't ever outsource. It's something I always do myself, and I do continually. And this is foundational. This is something you absolutely need to do first before you do anything else. And so after you get off our call today, before you do anything else, if you want to get started with doing this publishing and starting a profitable business, the first thing you can do is take a notebook, take a pen, go to the Kindle store, Amazon.com. Make sure it's the .com store because that, the U.S. market's the biggest, so it's the most indicative of trends and everything. And then just start looking through the bestsellers in different subcategories and seeing what people are into, seeing what they like. And, you can build an audience around anything that's trending in that way. And oftentimes, though, we let our egos get in the way because we think that something is going to be popular, even though there's no evidence of it in the Kindle store. So sometimes I find that is that holds some authors back from being as profitable as they can, because they're either not specific enough about the themes that they are targeting in their books, or they are going into something super, super, super niche, like something that they almost like invented just because they love it and they really believe in it. And the thing is, if you want to write a book because you love it and believe in it and you just want to get your book out there, that's amazing and that's awesome. But if you want to make a living and you want to make a lot of income from books, especially at the beginning, before you have any audience built up or anything, you need to be writing to market and publishing to market. So at this point, does anybody have any questions about niche research at all? You can post them in the side, and you can check them out. And so, I mean, most of my students do publish romance books. Some have expanded into like mystery or science fiction, but the majority publish in romance because it is so lucrative. And so doing the niche research in the romance subcategories, you'll see certain themes recurring. And so those are ones you really want to take note of. So it's like, well, there are a lot of bestsellers in romance right now that have like fake marriage as a theme, or like, what are some other ones that are trending a lot right now? Well, billionaires have been popular for like years, ever since 50 Shades of Grey. So that's like an easy one, but you want to really make note of trends that are popular and recurring, because there's something there where it's like, okay, well, that's something that people are really gravitating to. It might be something that you want to incorporate into your books. And the themes, it's not like they're like here for 1 week and then they disappear. So themes, if they are appearing in the bestseller list, they're usually around for a while, especially if you see more than one book with a similar theme. It's not like you can, if you decide to write a book on that and your book is ready in a month, especially if it's a well-written book. It's the thing, everybody, these have to be high quality, well-written books. Like that is, goes without saying. But if, you're writing a good story and it's, in alignment with what romance readers expect as far as like story arc goes, which means happily ever after ending, you know, a buildup of the relationship dynamic throughout the story, focus on characterization and conflict, that kind of thing. If you're doing that well and you include some trending themes in there, you will do you'll do fine. It's not like if you chose a theme that was trending now that in a month from now it's going to be like obsolete or anything like that. So Amber asked a question, what are my thoughts into romance thriller? Yeah, those can do really great. So if you have like suspense elements in it as well, that can be awesome. But what I recommend you do is still incorporate into your books specific themes. So you can have a really suspenseful, like thriller sort of book, but go and look at the bestsellers and see what kind of elements are trending right now, and take those elements and include those in your book too. Because you want to have these like touch points where you can easily market the book. But if you have like a subplot that, you know, there's some kind of suspense, there's a thriller along with the romance storyline, that can be amazing. Like if it's really well written, that can be really like intriguing for readers. So yeah, absolutely. Any other questions about the niche selection, niche research before I move on to the next step? And so like I was saying, everyone, like this is something where you can start this today. Like after the call, you can go and start to decide what you're going to, what niche you're going to do. And like I said, go for more than just one niche. Like you don't want to just be like, oh, I'm just writing a paranormal romance book about vampires. Like that is not enough. You have to like dig in and identify other themes and like other tropes, they're called too. So tropes, themes that that are trending that you can really focus on, especially in the marketing of your book and include in the storyline. But those are the things where it's going to make it a lot easier for you to attract an audience. All right, Kevin, can you double market a book like that in thriller and romance? Yes, absolutely you can. So if you have books that have themes that have crossover to other subcategories, yeah, you can totally list them in more than one subcategory. So Al said, ghostwriter companies versus other freelancer sources. So this is where I've had varying experiences. So mostly I get writers from Upwork. I've also got some writers from Hawk Ghostwriter, and they actually offer my audience a discount because I'm an affiliate. And so I'll just rewind a few years ago when I started publishing. I started off using a ghostwriting company, and they were awful. They were like so bad. Like I was ordering like 5,000 word nonfiction books, and they would take like several weeks, and the quality was terrible, and communication wasn't there, and etc. And I mean, I understand the nature of that business. It's hard. Like it's hard to have a business where you're delivering creative product like that. But yeah, they were really bad. And so that's why I was really hesitant to start to check out like another ghostwriting service. And then Hawk Ghostwriter came along, and they approached me and they asked me if I'd like to try them, like test it out. And I said, sure. And then I got, you know, they delivered a story for me, and it was good. And then I got some of my students to be beta testers for them. So they tested it out like before I would even promote it, you know, and they did well, and they, you know, we're getting good reviews. And I mean, there's been some minor hiccups because the nature of their business is like delivering a creative product, and also working with like, you know, writers and client needs and matching all those things. But their customer service has been fantastic and really, really good. So, so that being said, I think there are really good writing companies out there. I don't have experience with a lot of them. Like Hawk Ghostwriter is the only one that I have experience with. And then Upwork is great too. And I teach all my students how to recruit writers on Upwork. in a way that's really effective and efficient, and you can get some great talent applying to you. And yeah, and the thing about recruiting your own writers through Upwork is that you get that experience of developing the relationship with your writer, and kind of have a little bit more ownership of the process, I guess. But it is time consuming to go through a lot of writer applications and all that kind of stuff. So some people do prefer the more like concierge done for you service that a writing company offers. Oh, Kevin, okay, I see. Can you market the book like that in thriller and romance? No, you wouldn't be able to really have a different cover for each market. You would in the Amazon store. I'm just going back to Kevin's previous question, everyone, about can you double market a book like that in thriller and romance? And then he asked different covers and listings, etc. So no, you'd have one cover and one listing for the book, but then you can choose to have it available and visible under different keywords and under different categories and subcategories. So your book would be visible to different kinds of readers. And then if you're doing paid advertising, like driving traffic to the book that way, like your book in the store, that's where you can differentiate. That's where you can differentiate the audiences. So you could do Facebook ads targeting thriller readers with certain images and certain ad copy, and then directing them to your book. And then you would target romance readers with a different image, different ad copy, but then still be directing to the same book. So that's where you can like branch off and do your different targeting. Okay. Oh, Corelli has a question. Did not get the name of the service that offers student specials. Okay, so it's Hot Ghostwriter. If you're in my community group, you can go and check it out. I think I have a post in there. Yes, I must have a post in there, because they offer a discount to just my general audience, like through that, like people are in my community group and everything. And then they offer a bigger discount to my students. So you can check that out that way. If you have any questions at all, if you miss anything while you're watching this or whatever, send me an email at Carla. Hold on. I'm going to set the sticky message again. Carla at, here we go. Carla at Carla Marie Publishing.com. Send me a message here if you have any questions that come up later, or that you need clarification on, or if you want, if you missed join, if you haven't joined my free community Facebook group and you want to, I can give you the link there, that kind of a thing. I guess I could give it here too, but anyhow, we'll just leave it there. You can reach out to me by email personally if you want to talk about anything. You're welcome, Kevin. Okay, and Corelli, yeah, so I hope that answered your question. It's Hot Ghostwriter. And so there's specific codes if you want to get the discounts, and you can find it in my Facebook community group. All right, so we talked about niche research. That's the foundation. And if you don't have that foundation, everything else isn't going to work. So you can, continue on in this process, but if you have that broken foundation and you don't have a solid niche selection, then unfortunately your book and your publishing business is probably doomed. So best to get the niche research and everything right. Okay, second step. We're on step 2. Again, I said 5 steps. I don't know if there may be more than 5 steps after we're finished with this, but I needed to put some kind of container around everything, right? So next, what you're going to do is you're going to write a book, or you're going to have a book written through Ghostwriter, either or. And so I work with students who are authors themselves, who do the writing, and I also work with people who don't do the writing. Or then I work with people who are a combination of the two. So they do collaborations, or they do the plot writing and the writer executes, or they write together, or whatever. So lots of different ways to go about creating a book. And this first book that you're going to be writing is going to be, again, written to market according to what's niches that are trending. And you're going to actually end up giving this book away for free. And so it's a lead magnet, because you're going to use it to build a mailing list. And this is a crucial part of the process. So sometimes people are like, what? That's crazy. I'm going to give away a book for free. Yes, you're going to do that because building this mailing list is an enormously valuable asset that's going to serve you for years to come. It's email marketing is powerful, and it really opens up opportunities in this business, which I'll talk about now. So actually, we've already transitioned from step 2 to step 3. By the way, I have various notes going on here. So step 3 was to give away this lead magnet for free to build your mailing list. And so why a mailing list? This is a way to build relationships. And so this is what's going to differentiate a person who does really, really, really well in this business from someone who just does sort of okay, to someone who like doesn't do that great. So people that do really, really, really well build massive mailing lists, and they engage and build relationships with their audience. And this is becoming more and more true, is that people are becoming numb to what they perceive as being automated communication. Hold on, I need to have a sip. Oh, this splashed on my forehead. So we live in this age where everything is so anonymous, and there isn't this like person-to-person connection anymore in a lot of ways. And so I don't know about you, but I like sign up for mailing lists, and I go on webinars, and I do things like that. And I get a lot of emails that I don't open because they're not personal. I don't know if you can see this. You see how many unread emails I have? Yeah, 49,000. So, ouch. I mean, I should probably go and clean a lot of those out, but a lot of it is because these emails that I'm getting are just like random clickbaity sort of crap that I don't want to read. And I think a lot of people, like a lot of subscribers, feel that way. And so if you go out of your way to actually truly engage readers and give them value, that is what's going to win in the end. So, and this is evident more and more and more, not only in this business, like this publishing business, but across the board in businesses where we're just primarily like digital communication. So that is something to keep in mind. So you have this opportunity with a mailing list to build relationships, and it's really, really powerful. And so the mailing list isn't the only way. Then you can take people from your mailing list, and then you can bring them into your world by having them connect with you wherever else you're visible, or like on Facebook or on Instagram or wherever else you are. Not to say that you have to have like Instagram following to be a successful author. No, you don't. But if you're comfortable with other platforms and you like using them, it may be a good way for you to start communicating with your audience that way, and build a following that way. And that's another thing I want to stress, is there isn't just one way of doing things. Like it isn't like there's this cookie cutter path that you have to follow and you have to do steps, even though I call my webinar 5 steps to XYZ. It's because webinar titles, it's hard sometimes. So I had to give something that was all encompassing, but I'll tell you the truth now. There isn't a clear cut like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and boom, you have a 6-figure ebook publishing business. I can give you general containers and parameters around activities you need to do and actions you need to take. But it's not like you have to have Instagram and you have to have 10,000 followers and you have to have a Facebook page with 3,000 followers and you have to do a post every week. Like, no, absolutely not. I'm all about 80-20. So identifying the 20% of things that we need to do that account for 80% of the results. And so I'll get back to that during this call as well. So yeah, mailing lists, super important. Build your mailing list, build your relationships. And when you have a mailing list, it really helps you a lot in a few different ways. One, you have this group of readers and everyone has a book of yours, so they know what your writing is like. And you're able to recruit people from this mailing list to leave you honest, genuine reviews on your books when you release them. So this is hugely valuable. And myself and my students, like, we launch books and get 100 reviews, like, no problem, within like the first 3 days of the books being launched. And so I feel like, when I hear about authors having these opinions that it's so hard to get reviews, and if people are getting 30 and more reviews on their releases, they must be fake and they must buy them or whatever. And it's really unfortunate. It's just like a limiting mindset, because you just need to build your audience first. Before you do anything else, you have to build your audience. So yeah, I just have to plug my computer in here. So build that audience. Give yourself the ability to have the review team. And having that mailing list, it also enables you to connect with other authors who have mailing lists, and you can promote each other's books. So this is huge. It's like, this is massive. And I think some of you are publishers and know this already, but that is a really huge, important part of your publishing business, is collaborating and networking and connecting with other authors that have mailing lists and promoting each other's stuff. Like, well, in fiction, especially, because that if your readers like what you're publishing, like the themes you're publishing, they're going to like this other author's books. And so you can promote your books to that other author and to the other author's audience, and that other author, their books, you can promote to your audience. So you can trade that way. So that's a really huge opportunity. Especially when you're starting out in this business, building your audience and building this ability to connect with other authors and collaborate that way is huge, because it's free marketing, right? And so, I have many students that still rely primarily on newsletter swaps, and some of them make 5 figures a month. So it's a pretty amazing opportunity. Okay, any questions about newsletters, mailing lists, that kind of stuff? Getting reviews, building your ARC team. Of course, if I was to go over everything in detail, we'd be here for a long time. We've already been on for 45 minutes, and I just finished step 3, so I think we're doing okay. I'll try and go a little faster. But so yeah, it would take me a really long time to go through everything bit by bit and detail by detail. But I'm giving you the general kind of idea, and I'm happy to answer your questions or give some tips. If you are writing with pen name, yeah, I've always published under pen names, and same with the majority of my students. Okay. Oh, sorry, that's a 2-part question that Tarek had. If you're writing with a pen name, how do you maintain a mailing list? So you set up an email address with your pen name, and then you have an autoresponder like MailChimp or MailerLite or Aweber, and you set up a mailing list under that author name's name and that email address that you have for the author name, and then you communicate that way. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And a lot of my my students write with a pen name, but they bring a lot of their own personality into the communication that they do with their audience. So Al asked, do you have VAs that help with all of these logistics? So I have one VA, and what I primarily have her doing to help me is doing the managing my calendar for newsletters, for the email marketing aspect of it, because it's time consuming. And so she connects with, like, hooking up with other authors and doing the newsletter swaps and that kind of thing. So that's what my VA does. Also, she helps with like formatting, like general things like that of books. But when it comes to communicating with writers, I do that. When it comes to deciding on titles, niche, like the niches I'm going to publish in, what else? Categories, blurbs, okay, the descriptions, sales descriptions, it's all me because that's a high level skill and it's really important. I get like my writer will write a description for the book, but then I go in and totally redo it and really craft it carefully to make sure that it's optimized and really in line with like reader expectations. And some of my, and so, yeah, I mean, I have a writer. So as for like staff, I have a writer and a VA, and that's it. And some of my students have more VAs and they have their systems kind of more, I guess, segmented, like VAs do different tasks in their business, or they may have like a boss VA and then a couple of VAs under that boss VA. I haven't gotten that complicated. I like to keep things as simple as possible. Al, did you teach copywriting to yourself? I think that's your question. Yeah. So I learned it from observing the bestseller, like best-selling blurbs, and also just from, I mean, I'm a resourceful person, and so I learn from like other digital marketing people, I guess. But what I've learned from other people and from other mentors and stuff, I've adapted it for this industry, for publishing, and that's what I teach to my students. So I go into like a lot of detail on how to craft effective descriptions and what you need to focus on. And essentially for fiction, for your descriptions, you need to focus on showing and not telling. So you need to show. You need to show the reader what they're going to experience instead of just telling the story in the description. So yes, descriptions are really, really important. So that's something I write myself, and I encourage and teach my students to at least know how to do it so that they can tweak the descriptions that their writers give them. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, our next step, step 4. You're going to launch your first release. So while you're building your audience with your lead magnet, that's when you should be getting your next book written, whether you're writing yourself or you have a writer writing it for you. That's when you are getting your book ready, and then you're going to launch your first release. And you will have had that time where you're building your mailing list up. You will have that time to plan all your marketing. So you can plan out doing like a email launch sequence to your mailing list. You can do newsletter swaps. You can do Facebook ads. You can do AMS ads. A lot of potential, but the best thing to do is stack them. So have a strong launch where you're stacking things on top of each other so you get this big push, because the Amazon algorithm loves that. They really, really like it. So you have an opportunity, a window in basically the first 2 weeks of your book being live, where that's where you need to see that that uptick in sales in order to like lock in with Amazon's algorithm. And so just to kind of give you an idea of where I'm at now in my businesses and in my process, is I focus heavily on Facebook ads. And I have a partner and we have an ads agency. And so we're helping a handful of romance authors right now. And it's been amazing. We launched this in November and we've seen such wonderful results and really excited about it. We've managed, how much now? Probably over $350,000, probably closer to $400,000 of ad spend since November. And it's been an amazing experience. So I'm really focused on Facebook ads. I see enormous value in AMS ads as well. But Facebook ads, you have the ability to have a lot more control over targeting and overspending and that kind of thing. And the reporting is a little bit clearer and more detailed. So it's more effective. So Facebook ads, that's where I'm putting a lot of my attention. And I know the power of the Facebook ad. So that's where I focus when it comes to marketing now. And so in my program, we have Facebook ad training, and there's an amazing group of people in the program where we are helping each other in the group, and we have an admin who is a Facebook ads pro who helps out a lot. So I answer a lot of Facebook ads questions. She does as well. And so that's one avenue to definitely explore is Facebook ads. And that would be a whole nother webinar if I was to dive deep into that whole thing. But that being said, you need to have everything in line before that, before you even get to the advertising part, because if you don't have that foundation of a book people want to read, and the branding and the awesome cover and the great title and the great description and the client, the customer, the reader relationships, if you don't have those things in place, ads they'll do nothing for you. And so it's really important to have a foundation first before you dive into the paid advertising. And so that was step 4. So doing the launch with a marketing push behind it. And step 5 is plan your next release. So stay consistent. Amazon loves consistency. So we want to be putting out books consistently. So looking at, sorry, I just got distracted by one question. So consistency, looking at publishing regularly. So that may be once a month. I think that's a good pace, is to be publishing once a month or once every 2 months. Once you get the process down, you may want to scale by publishing a little more often. And so there isn't one answer for that because it's going to depend on your goals, your resources, the time you have available to put into the business, that kind of a thing, how often you're going to publish. But no matter what, just stay consistent and keep on building your audience, building your list, doing all those sorts of things. So I just saw that Mike, all he said is lost. So Mike, if you want to elaborate on what I can clarify or where you're feeling lost, please do, because if you're feeling that way, there's a chance that other people who are watching are feeling that way as well. And so I hope I'm not talking too fast or going off on too many tangents. I'm just trying to get a lot of information into this one webinar. So let me know, Mike, if you want me to elaborate on something. So any questions about anything that we've talked about so far? And if you're like, oh no, I feel like I'm not taking all this in or whatever, if you're like, I wish I could watch this again, well, good news, there's a replay. So I'll be sending out the replay recording tomorrow morning, maybe tonight, either tonight or tomorrow. You'll receive it through email. So you'll be able to watch it again for sure. Okay, Kevin asks, how much of a story or plot do you develop to give guidance to a ghostwriter? Totally up to you. Honestly, you can just tell your ghostwriter, I want my book about XYZ, and they can like craft the plot for you. Or you can create a plot yourself, which is valuable. It gives you a little bit more creative control. And it kind of guarantees that the book's going to be more unique. A lot of these writers, they write a lot of books, right? Like if they're full-time writers, they're always writing something. And it may not be intentional, but maybe at some point they're just like dialing it in and they use like a very similar storyline to another book they've written. Not to say that someone would intentionally be like, oh, I'm going to screw over this publisher by doing this, but honest mistakes like that happen sometimes. So yeah, if you want a little more control, getting a plot to them, whether you write the plot yourself or you get a separate writer to make the plot or whatever, it's totally a good idea. Oh, thanks for the encouragement, Al. He said, you're doing great, very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Candace, is it hard to find writers? No, there are so many writers out there, everybody. I know some people are like, I can't find good writers. Upwork has an enormous number of writers available. It takes time. You have to dig for them. In my program, I teach how to best effectively find good writers. But everything takes time. So you need to read through samples. You need to do all that kind of stuff. You need to contact people, ask questions if you want, try some out. So you can do that, or you can go with a concierge service like Hot Ghostwriter, like I was talking about earlier on the call. So you can do either of those things. Depends on how much time and effort you want to put into it. So if you want to pay a little bit of a premium, you can go with a ghostwriter service. If you don't want to pay that premium, you can learn to do it yourself, which also is valuable because then you own the relationships between you and the writer. And I think that's a really good experience. The experience of hiring and managing staff, managing people, engaging in those sort of relationships. That's huge. Just engaging in relationships in general, the different levels of relationships in business, it's so valuable and just such great skills to cultivate. So the skills that you develop when you have a business like this are transferable to other businesses too, especially online businesses. And this is kind of a tangent, but a lot of my students, Kindle publishing was their gateway drug. So they came into online business through Kindle publishing. They built successful businesses. Then they were hungry for more. So then they branch off into e-commerce, or they have their own sort of courses for other things, or they do drop shipping or Amazon FBA or these other kinds of things. But having that foundation of getting into online business with Kindle publishing is awesome because it is really accessible. Any one of you, I know many of you are publishers already, but anyone can go on to kdp.com and open a publishing account right now and start publishing ebooks. That being said, the barrier to entry is low. Sure, anyone can do it. The barrier to success is a lot higher, which is a good thing because, oh man, I've seen so many iterations of Kindle publishing businesses over the past 5 years now, where before it was the Wild West, where it's you can just put up anything and it sells and you just make money. That is not the case anymore, and that is a good thing because that's why we do these things of putting out quality books and building brands and building audiences through mailing lists and building relationships with readers and doing all of these things, because that is what moves the needle. That is what it takes, and doing the marketing and running Facebook ads and doing all these fun, amazing things, because this is a real business. This is a business. And if you treat it like a business, it's going to expand and grow and be really great for you. But people who come in treating it like a get-rich-quick sort of opportunity, or expecting that it's oh, I'm just going to throw up a few books and walk away with 10 grand a month or whatever, it just doesn't work like that anymore. So that was, okay, you know what, that I just went on a tangent there, but I don't even remember how I got onto that tangent. But let's just get back to the questions here. Al, what do you think about getting a coach to speed up the process? Sure, yeah. I mean, if you resonate with somebody and you know, the person is proven and what I think is most important to know and to recognize is that not every teacher is going to be for every student. And so some coaches, you may be oh, I am not everybody's teacher. I'm not the teacher for everybody. Other coaches out there aren't the coaches for everybody either. But if you find someone you resonate with and you see that they can be the bridge to the transformation that you're looking for, then absolutely. And I find like truth be told, I'm a big fan of having mentors. Like I've had paid mentors for the past, when did I start? 2016, I started working with mentors where I was paying them every month to mentor me, and paying a lot for mentorship. And what I realized through my experience with that is that when you're paying somebody to help you, you pay more attention and you have some skin in the game. And it's like you're symbolically, why not even, I guess more than symbolically, but you're investing in yourself by investing in that mentor. So super valuable. I can't recommend it enough, really. And so whoever that is that you have in mind, just ask yourself, does that person resonate with me? And do they, do they have a track record? And is it something that you feel really will speed up the process for you? And that being said, again, a lot of what is taught in courses and taught by coaches is like, yeah, you can go and find it. You can go piece it together from YouTube and from, wherever else, and take other courses and piece everything together. You can absolutely go and do that, but that might take a really long time, and you may have a lot of like stumbles and obstacles along the way. And so when you work with a mentor, you work with a coach, they're able to guide you, right? They're able to eliminate a lot of that that stumbling that happens, and they kind of shorten the learning curve. But sorry, I have to go out not on another tangent again, but just even to clarify that even further, no matter who you work with as a coach, expect that there are going to be obstacles and there are going to be stumbles along the way, which is a good thing. Like one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from somebody is like, whatever you're doing, whatever you start doing when you're doing a new venture, you want to fail fast. Like get busy failing, because as you have those failures, you're able to correct course quickly and you're able to grow. So yeah, even if you're working in a course, you're working with a mentor, a coach, whatever, be open and inviting to the failures, because they're going to happen and they're just opportunities for you to level up and keep growing quickly. So I hope that's helpful. How many words are books on average? In romance, doing full-length novels, so 50, 60,000 words. And in most romance niches, that's what I'm recommending now. That's what people are like publishing and doing well with. Your first book, if it's just a lead magnet, maybe it doesn't have to be as long, but yeah, full-length novels, the way to go. Because, the best thing to do is research the niche where you're planning on publishing, because different niches will have like different word lengths. In some niches, novellas still sell really well. But if you're publishing in Kindle Unlimited, so that's where your books are exclusive to KDP Select, and people can borrow the books. And like people subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, they pay $10 a month, they're able to borrow your book, and then they read through it, and you get paid by the page read. So if you have a really good writer and you have a niche where it's like that it's hot and trending and you can get in front of an audience and all that, then it's best to have longer books, because if the writer's good, then someone borrows the book, they're going to read through to the end of it because they're entertained by it, and you're going to get paid for more page reads. Okay, what are your thoughts on audio publishing? Good question, Kevin, because I haven't done it yet, but I am going to start exploring that with I have a friend who owns a publishing company, like a legit publishing company, then we're going to partner on doing some audio versions of books, just so I can start playing around with it and start playing around with sending Facebook ad traffic to audiobooks. So yeah. Al, so how do you find good mentors? That's a good question. My first mentor I met by, well, I read his book first. My first mentor was Dan Lok. So some of you may know who Dan Lok is. So I read his book in 2014, and his book is called F You Money. And it really impacted me. I really liked his story and his approach to money and business and mindset. And so then I started going and seeing him once a month in Vancouver in a live mastermind. There was like 20 of us. So, sorry, that was kind of like an immediate, I didn't give you the story in between. I started watching lots of videos, interviews of him on YouTube and stuff like that. And then on one interview he did with someone, he mentioned that he did mentorship. And so I went on his website and I saw where like the application form was, and I just sent one in. And then a couple of days later, I talked to his director of his program, and then I was in the mastermind. So I was traveling to Vancouver every month and hanging out with him all day and go for dinners and do all this kind of stuff. And it was an amazing opportunity to learn from him. And I did learn a lot about business, online business, about copywriting, mindset, that kind of stuff. It was really valuable. And so he was my mentor for a couple of years. Then last year, I started moving in an additional direction in business. I'm starting a natural wellness brand called Enliven Naturals. And so I was at a conference last summer, a brand building conference, and I saw an amazing keynote by this guy, George Bryant. It just blew me away. And then I ended up meeting him in the elevator later in the day, and I just immediately was like, do you do mentorship? And then we connected, and so now he's my mentor. He's been my mentor for about half a year. I just was visiting with him in California last week. And so he's a marketing genius, all about relationships. It just resonates so deeply with me. So he's he's amazing, and very experienced in the supplement brand, wellness brand space. And so he's an ideal mentor for me as I explore this new potential, this new business that I'm diving into and about to launch. I'm about to launch our first product. So as you can see, my experience is varied, is super diverse for online business. And I'm passionate about all of it. Anything where where I see like opportunity, it's something that's really exciting to me. Okay, so next question, Al, do you mentor? So I have a program. It's called Fiction Profits Academy. That's a really good segue, by the way, into the offer. If you didn't know about webinars, that's how they work, is that there's some teaching, and then you're like, by the way, so yes, I have a program called Fiction Profits Academy. I'm doing intake now for I'm closing down registration after this for a long time, because I'm focusing on the students I already have, helping them win more, focusing on the ads agency I have, growing that because the impact we're having is incredible, and focusing on this wellness brand that I'm launching. So yeah, I'm doing intake one last time for this. And I know you're like, okay, right, closing down the registration. This is not this is not false urgency. Literally, I am not taking any more registrations after the next week. I said earlier this month I was going to close down registration in the middle of February, and then it took me a while to get around to doing this webinar. So I'll keep it open for one more week, and then I'm closing it down. And so if you're in the program, you have me, you're in the program for good, you'll be getting on group calls with me every few weeks. And then if you're not in the program, then you're going to be out of luck, because I'm not taking any more registrations for a long, long time. Maybe open it later in the year, but maybe not even. So, yeah. So let me show you. I wanted to share with you this case study too of a student of mine who did really awesome. Well, she's done awesome for the last few years. She started my program in 2016, early 2016. And I got this great message from her earlier in the month. She wanted to share her identity, understandably so, because she doesn't want people reaching out to her and being like, you know, how did you do it? Whatnot. So I want to share my screen. I've never done a screen share on a webinar, so let's see how this works. I'll have to open this maybe first. Hold on a second. Open this. Let's move it. Okay. All right, so I think you can probably all see this now. So, hey, Carla, just a little update. January was my record month in KDP, $47,000 profit. Revenue was just a little higher compared to that's supposed to be previous previous months. But my latest 2 releases were killing it. Lots of back catalog read through. So she has about 30 books so far. She's truly grateful for this business. Couldn't fit her any better. Thank you so much. Obviously, I was like, wow, that's awesome. Very excited for you. So I love, love, love getting these messages. And I get them regularly, which is amazing. I was going to go through and show you this other website, this page where it's like all testimonials and stuff, but I'm just going to actually share you the link to it if you want to check it out, because yeah, you know, I have a lot of testimonials that people have worked with me and have done amazingly well, and it's a combination. It's a combination between me being a good teacher and giving them a blueprint that works, and then them showing up to the opportunity and taking action on it, and being absolutely obsessed. So when I see students now who are crushing it, it is because they are obsessed, or they were at one point obsessed with the business and taking the action they need to take, and like bringing that enthusiasm into it, and that belief in order to take that level of action and making it happen for themselves. So this is something what I wanted to touch on as well, and then we'll be closing this up soon. It's been over an hour, which is longer than I intended to be on, but I've just really enjoyed being on here talking with you. And it's amazing. Like, before I got on the call today, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? What am I going to say? Even though I've been doing these and teaching and everything for so long, and I know it just naturally flows through me, I showed up with like this kind of this feeling of like, oh no, can I pull this off? You know, so I'm so happy that I've found so much joy in delivering this webinar today. But another thing I wanted to touch on, which is of importance, is mistakes that I see publishers making. And so one of the most common mistakes I make, and I see this in people who are like searching and haven't joined a program yet, but also I see it sometimes in people who just are beginners, like starting a program, is that they're looking for a magic pill. Like, they're looking for something that's like, I just need to do this one thing and then my problems are all solved, and I'm going to be wildly successful. And there is no one thing, ever, 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 in any sort of business, any sort of online business. There isn't one magic pill. First and foremost, it comes down to you. You are your business, the foundation underneath everything. So it comes down to your belief and your conditioning in what you think your limitations are. And so if you have a lot of limiting beliefs, those are going to keep coming up in different iterations, I guess, throughout your pursuit of business, until you start facing those beliefs, seeing their limitations, seeing this little voice that's coming up saying you can't do something, or that it's like something's impossible for you, or coming up with complaints or excuses, or victim mentality, that kind of thing, if that thing's coming up over and over and over again, and you start to notice it, you start to have awareness of it, that's the most powerful thing. Because then you can be like, aha, I think that's a lie. And you can start to think about things that are coming up over and over again that you're hearing yourself say to yourself. And you can start to say to yourself, I love you, but I'm not listening to you. So that little voice that's coming up and telling you that things have to be a certain way, or that's like, you can't do something, something's impossible, that people, if they're getting to a certain level, it's because they have XYZ opportunity that you don't have, or whatever. Just know that that is not the case, and that you have a choice to listen to that story or to start creating a new story for yourself. And that's super powerful. And so the biggest determinant of success is your willingness to be obsessed and to take action proportionate to that obsession, and to start rewriting your story and letting go of that old story that was dictating how you're living your life. So, and as I'm saying this to you, it's like I'm saying it in a mirror, because it's not like you just say this to yourself once and you're like, hey, I'm good, done, I'm set for life now. This is something that I talk to myself about on a daily basis. Bringing that awareness of my conditioning and looking at all of the action or inaction I have during my day, and whether or not it's aligned with me being successful or it's aligned with me not being successful. And then choosing to take actions and choosing beliefs that are in alignment with that version of my life that I'm creating. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. But, so, Al, did you always have that success mindset you have now? No. It really started taking off, or I really started connecting with it, I'd say about 14, 15 years ago, when I started meditating. Actually, that was a huge turning point in my life, where I started to meditate and I started to realize that I wasn't living my potential. And at that point, that came into, was like manifested as I wasn't being as creative as I knew I needed to be. And I started to play music. Like, I grew up playing music, like piano and stuff, but then I started to actually be a musician and play in a band and stuff. And me going from not being that person, but really feeling drawn to it, and then taking the action to actually have that as my outside reality now. And, without being fearful about what other people thought and everything, that was huge. So that's how I started to see that my belief in myself and my mindset creates my reality. Because then I went from never being a musician, always being on the sidelines. I always was friends with bands and friends with musicians and dated musicians and all that stuff, to actually being the musician on the stage, and started playing lots of shows and started touring all over the country, and was getting paid to be a musician. And I did that for 6 years. But me going from not having that as my reality to having that as my reality was due to my belief and my mindset. And I started to notice that cause and effect relationship. And I just dove deep into that with things that I read and audio I listened to and everything. I'm really conscious of my conditioning because I grew up with like a lack mindset. And so that's really programmed into me. And so I'm always conscious of that and conscious of reprogramming my mind so that I'm not in alignment with that. And I'm in alignment with abundance and opportunity and growth and all of those things, and allowing myself to like create momentum in that direction. and then take action in that direction every day. And like, yeah, it's been a ride for sure. And now I'm so happy to have the opportunity to connect and impact people this way. So I know this is getting to be a little deeper than just a call about self-publishing, but this is the real, honest truth of where of how I impact people, and where I believe success comes from. Because you can take a blueprint for any online business, dropshipping, Amazon FBA, go build your own course. What else is out there right now? Just e-com, general e-com, affiliate marketing. There are so many things out there you can do, or you can learn publishing from me. By the way, I'm just going to put the offer on the link on the screen in case anyone's interested in checking it out. Offers. Here it is, FPA. So anyhow, as I was saying, there are a lot of different opportunities out there, a lot of different blueprints, and there's testimonials everywhere. It's like, hey, this works, this works, this works. But what determines success in any of those is going to be how you're showing up as a person, in your mindset, in your foundation, in the action you're going to take, all of those sorts of things. And so that is, when we're talking 80-20, that is the 80%, or the mindset accounts for 80%. All of the strategies, tactics, all of that stuff is in the 20%. And I've seen how I've been able to grow several different businesses now. It's not because I'm some marketing genius or I have some, inborn skill that makes me more adept at doing this. It's due to, if I was to boil it down to something, it would be resourcefulness. So being able to find the information I need and how to implement it, and also my alignment with the opportunity and that feeling of abundance and opportunity. So my radar's always out for people and ways that I can connect to something that can serve an audience or has an opportunity. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. So now I'm going off in this new venture. I'm branching off into doing this wellness brand. My partner is a naturopathic doctor, and so she does all the formulations for the supplements, and I'm doing all the marketing stuff. But last year, when we decided to do this, I had no idea how to do it. So I just like, let's do it. Let's figure it out. And so we just jumped off the cliffs, and then we're building the parachute as we fall down, kind of a thing. But in taking that step with faith, and I did this with publishing too, you just dive in and you just do it. When you step off with faith and just have that belief and that knowing that everything you need is going to be provided to you, I've had exactly all of the right people and resources align for me on my path. And I'm really grateful for that. And so I want to help people align with that too, and align with all of the resources they need for success in publishing. Oh, wow, that's awesome. Thank you. You just had a great webinar. You're very relatable. So let me give you the URL here. Probably see it on the offers up on the screen. Just 1 second here, bud. ProfitsAcademy.com. So it's fictionprofitsacademy.com. www.fictionprofitsacademy.com. I think it should have come up. Let me know if it came up on the screen there. So you can go and check that out. That's the registration page. And so the price of the program is $19.97, like $1,997, or 4 payments of $549. You get a whole bunch of videos, PDF modules, that kind of a thing. the same blueprint, the same training that all of my students have received, many of whom have gone on to be wildly successful, really amazing, inspiring stories. You can, in the follow-up email, I'll send you a link to a page that has a bunch of the testimonials on it, so you can check that out. Then there's a private Facebook group for my program. I know you're getting bored. Sorry, buddy. We'll get supper in a second. Okay, I know you're getting hungry. So there's a private Facebook group too, which has all of my students over the past few years, and so that's where we connect, and you can post questions whenever they come up. I'm in there several times a day. I have awesome, experienced, successful admins who are in there too that answer questions. And then every few weeks, I get on a live Q&A call with you on a Saturday, and we can, workshop through your whatever you want. If you want to come on there with your descriptions and your covers and everything, then we will give live feedback. So I'm meeting you where you're at. Like, show up. I'm meeting you where you're at, and want to support you in your journey here. I will give you all of my resources and guidance and everything I have, and then it's your job to get obsessed and take the action and make it all happen. Zara, he is your mini me. Yeah, he's awesome. He's just turned 7. He's in grade 1. And it's interesting because he's around books so much, because I read a ton. My partner reads a ton. He has a degree in literature. So our books, like our house is lined with bookshelves with books everywhere. And so he, at 7, is reading novels. Like, he's halfway through The Hobbit. Today he just bought, hey, Saul, can you bring your new book here?
What?
Bring your new book here.
Okay.
So we went and got him a new book today that he's really excited about, and he started reading. He's really into fantasy. So this is what he's reading right now. Robert Jordan, The Eye of the World.
And The Wheel of Time.
Yeah, the Wheel of Time series. So he's super excited about that. But yeah, it's fun. Okay, Gollum. So Kevin, this has been extremely thankful. Thank you. You're so welcome. Thank you so much, everyone. Again, if you're interested in the replay, I'll be sending it out tomorrow morning at the latest. And we'll be, and if you're interested in joining my program, again, I'm just going to have registration open for about a week. And you can go to fictionprofitsacademy.com and you can register there. Again, last chance to get in with me. I know you hear that a lot, that you're like, last chance, hurry before it's gone, blah, blah, blah. All that fake scarcity and fake urgency. This is not fake. I'm closing down registrations so I can focus on the students I have, helping everybody win a lot more, and then growing, allowing myself to grow in my other directions as well, with the ads agency I have and the wellness brand. Okay, so thank you again. It was so wonderful to hang out with you. It's time for us to go get some supper. And I hope you all have a good night. And again, my email address is there, carla@carlamariepublishing.com, if you want to email me about anything. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Have a good night. Bye.